Simple question. Is it time for the 49ers to move off from Jimmy G? It's going to be hard because they gave him a massive contract a couple of years ago worth like $100 million, I believe. But he hasn't looked very impressive. People, Nick Mullins has kind of looked as good. I don't think he's looked better, but he's looked pretty much like he can fill that Jimmy G role. I think Jimmy G is better. I don't think it's a question. But I don't think Jimmy G is a franchise quarterback. I think he's an average quarterback at best. I believe he cost him the Super Bowl last year because he couldn't complete that pass to Emmanuel Sanders, and he missed George Kittle a bunch of times. I just don't think he is a quarterback people and a lot of fans thought he was going to become. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I agree. I think he's an average quarterback. I think even after everything you just said, though, they went to the Super Bowl with him. I think this team this year has been battling with injuries all year. They've been devastated with a lot of injuries to their team. So I think it's too early to say give up on him because they were going to be one of the best teams in the NFC this year if they were healthy. So I don't think it's too early to pump. I think it's too early to pump the brakes.
I think that it's a really unfortunate situation. Like Riv said, they've been dealing with a bunch of injuries. Himself, he's been dealing with a bunch of injuries. He's had that ankle, and I don't think that on Sunday he was fully healthy. It doesn't excuse how poorly he played, but I think it depends on what you're looking for out of him. Like, I think he can be a game manager quarterback if you think,
last year.
Yeah, if you think that's good enough to win a Super Bowl. If that wasn't the Chiefs last year, if it was a normal team, like any of the Super Bowl teams that we've seen the past 4 or 5 years, I think they have a better chance of winning. But they ended up running into the Chiefs, who have Patrick Mahomes, a historic offense, and they were one throw away from winning that game. So, do I think they could win a Super Bowl with him? Yes, but their defense would have to be spectacular again. Their rushing attack would have to be spectacular again. Is that something that you want? I know I sent you guys a picture today. Dak Prescott photoshopped into a Niners uniform. If they could do that in a heartbeat, no hesitation, because Dak puts that offense on a whole new level. If they can go out and get a difference-making quarterback like that, I think 100% yes, you move on from Jimmy. And I like him, but he's just not the guy that they thought he was going to be. And I think maybe he needs a change of scenery. Maybe he needs to go back to New England with his guy Bill Belichick. They love each other. They worked well together in New England. I feel like the best games he's ever had were those games in New England when he came in for Tom Brady. But now, it just seems like although the circumstances have been unfortunate and they had so much success with him when he was healthy, I don't think it was because of him. I think it was in spite of him being a game manager, because they had a great defense, because they had a great rushing attack. I don't think he's that franchise guy that they and I thought he was going to turn into. So, if you can go out, get a guy like Dak, maybe even in the draft, if you have a good quarterback fall to you, I don't think it's outlandish to say move on from Jimmy.
I'm just looking at this injury list.
The injuries is bad, but I disagree with a lot of what you just said because
what else?
You think he's a franchise quarterback though?
Look,
at when the Patriots traded him, I mean, he was being hailed.
And I can't believe your nerve either. I can't believe your nerve.
What'd I do?
I can't believe your nerve to co-sign a Dak Prescott comment when all you've ever done was not think Dak Prescott was that good. Look, Dak Prescott on the Niners, I would love it because I love Dak Prescott as a quarterback. And yes, he is better than Carson Wentz. But Dak Prescott is kind of like the same mode as Jimmy in terms of a game manager. Dak Prescott he's not a superstar game-changing quarterback that's going to take him over the top.
Can't relate.
If anything,
I disagree.
If anything, he'll make the offense slightly a little bit better, but it won't be something that, now the 49ers have Dak Prescott, their Super Bowl favorites. It's not going to be the case.
Did you watch Dak this season through the first 5 weeks?
I think Jimmy G's a guy, high IQ QB with limited talent.
Hold on. What did the Cowboys do with Andy Dalton?
Wait,
for the
did
2
you
weeks
just say
that he
Dak
played?
is a game manager? You think so?
I think he's a little bit better than a game manager, but that's kind of like it's kind of what he is. Like he's not he's not Russell Wilson.
So then why did the Cowboys go from being a team that we were thinking of as a contender in the NFC to one of the worst teams in football
They
in
have
2
talent.
weeks.
Oh,
Jack, even with Dak, they weren't a contender in the NFC.
That's fact.
A lot of people were talking about them that
losing
way.
They were
Dak.
losing with Dak, and they were probably going to lose.
That's what was so confusing. to
because
me.
their defense sucks.
That is true. The defense.
But
is
they
very
were
horrible.
actually in football games,
Yeah,
winning football games
Seattle's
with
defense
Dak.
was
So wait,
horrible.
what do you guys think talent-wise, what do you guys think Jimmy G is?
I mean, talent-wise, that's such a hard question. I can just name you what he does good.
Okay.
I mean, he's good in that system at play-action passing, looking at his first read. He's good at intermediate passes. He's good at short passes. His footwork is kind of nice. He's been kind of sloppy in it as of recently. But Dak, he misses a lot of throws too. Like, I see Jimmy miss throws, but Dak misses a lot of throws on Dallas too. And yes, his numbers look great, but let's not lie and act like they're in those games. Like, they're usually losing by a couple
I remember when I
touchdowns.
said this last year.
But they were
usually-
literally in those games.
It's crazy, man.
Their
came
defense
back,
put
but
them in a hole, and they came back.
Okay,
because
but
they
why didn't their offense click early on in the game? Like that,
Because
look,
Ezekiel
I don't
Elliott is
wanna-
having
I don't want to
the
make
worst
this.
season of his career.
I don't wanna-
It's not about Dak.
I don't want to make.
We'll
this,
get on Dak
I don't
next.
want to make this a Dak thing. I just want to say that I don't think Dak for Jimmy takes them over the top.
I think it makes their offense a heck of a lot
I
better.
think they
to-
need more than Dak.
But to the original question, is it time to move on from Jimmy G? Yes, it's time to move on from Jimmy G. I don't know who they're going to move on to. Maybe draft a quarterback in the draft. Maybe try to trade for somebody, a young guy like Sam Darnold, and see what Kyle Shanahan could do with him. But I just don't think Jimmy is that guy that they can go and win a Super Bowl with. Right now, the 49ers they're coming up and they have to pay a lot of their players that are elite, that were on rookie deals now. With Jimmy making that type of money, they can't fill up that roster and surround Jimmy with the players that they once had the year that they went to Super Bowl last year. So that's why I just don't think Jimmy is that guy. He's been injured, that's in all fairness to him, he's been injured, but he's not that guy. And they should move on. And I'm ashamed of you for co-signing that Dak Prescott comment when all you've ever done was bash Dak.
I never said he was terrible though.
You never said he was terrible, but
He's an Eagles fan.
Yeah, like what the hell?
you never said he was okay. Just because
You
you're
used
a
to bash Josh
just
Allen
'cause
consistently and daily.
just because you're a fan of a team doesn't mean you have to
But
be biased towards.
I never said he was terrible.
But
You're
in all
biased towards Sam
in all
Darnold.
fairness, Jimmy G isn't terrible either. But you co-signed the comment that Dak would make the 49ers so much better,
I think you would make them better than Jimmy.
I
G.
just don't know.
so much better.
Again,
Maybe a
I'm
little
trying not to
No,
make
wait,
this.
wait, hold on, Jack, because people it's like people forget last year. Like Jimmy G's this average QB that we're talking about. He's some game management. They went to the when their team is healthy. They went to the Super Bowl with
a
Jimmy
game
G.
manager quarter. He wasn't.
That's
He
what
was
I'm saying.
throwing,
So
he was throwing
if-
for about 100 yards.
And if
a
we're
game
talking
in the
about Dak
playoffs.
is better than him, I think we all agree Dak is better by a couple slots. If they're healthy, why can't they do it again?
Rev.
And again, I'm
When-
Or
trying.
at least
When-
go to the NFC Championship. Last year they dominated almost every team they played. They just dominated with a healthy team. This year we're talking about move on from Jimmy G. I'm looking at their injuries. Everybody is hurt. Everybody.
Yeah.
So how are you going to sit there and say move on from the guy who just was our quarterback for a Super Bowl run when our team is healthy? Our team isn't healthy. We're not winning right now. But the strength of our team isn't healthy. So how are you going to sit there and say, move on from Jimmy G when it's like he doesn't have the full chance. He's playing bad, yes, but also the team isn't there. Nobody's there. Nobody's playing. So how could you honestly say that?
Nobody was there yesterday. Was nobody there yesterday?
Yesterday? I didn't watch yesterday's game. So I
Okay,
can't even
everybody
say that.
was there. Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, even though he got
Their
injured.
defense still missing pieces.
They were there.
The defense has been missing pieces all year.
Oh yeah, okay.
And he
but
said
that
Brandon
doesn't-
Ayuk, who's a rookie. You're relying on a rookie.
Brandon
And-
Ayuk had 100 yards receiving
And,
last
He's
year.
still a
and-
rookie,
and,
though.
And Jimmy
Still a
G.
rookie.
would-
That
and-
doesn't mean he's not a good receiver.
Okay, but you're relying on a rookie, though.
No, you're not. You're relying on Debo, who's a really good receiver.
Debo's okay.
Debo is good.
And he's been
What are
hurt
you
this year,
talking
too.
about?
He's been hurt this year, too.
Okay, but
That's another guy's been hurt.
yesterday they were healthy, and Jimmy G.
They were
looked
healthy
really
one
bad.
They
time.
were not fully healthy.
They
yesterday.
haven't been
In
fully healthy
offense,
all
they
year.
were kind of fully healthy.
But their
yes.
strength, and what's their strength, Jack?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
What's their strength, Jack?
The defense.
Thank you.
Jimmy Garoppolo himself was not healthy yesterday.
but the defense is their strength, but that doesn't exonerate Jimmy G's play on offense
I just
when
said
the offense is there.
I just admitted he's been playing bad, but when the strength of the team is not there, they're not going to be that good.
But I do agree that they should move on from him, but it's not because of this season. I think that even last season, when I was still defending him,
I was never high on Jimmy.
They were fighting an uphill battle in the playoffs. They needed to count on Raheem Mostert and that rushing attack to be good every week. They needed to count on that defense to play spectacular every week. And it caught up with them in the Super Bowl when they faced a great offense that got them into a shootout, and Jimmy G couldn't make the throws at the end. I think that is where a guy like, and again, I'm not trying to make this a Dak thing, but I think a guy like Dak Prescott doesn't even have to be a top 5, maybe not even top 10 quarterback in the league.
Dak Prescott has a negative record against teams that are 500 or better.
But he's a playmaker. He's not a game manager, in my opinion.
No, he is a playmaker. He does make plays.
I think with his 49ers healthy defense, that record would change very fast.
I agree. But come Super Bowl time, like, I don't know that they, especially this year, I don't know that they can contend with Jimmy G at quarterback, just because when they play great teams and they get into gunfights at the end, they don't have the weaponry because their quarterback, you can't trust him to make those throws.
Why I disagree with you is because before Amari Cooper went to Dallas, Dak looked pretty pedestrian.
Oh, I agree.
He didn't have great numbers until Amari came.
Even last year,
but Jimmy doesn't have a solid number 1 wide receiver.
He has the best tight end in the league, though.
Okay, yeah.
Even last year, I would say that Dak didn't look worlds better than Jimmy G. But this year, you look at him, and he made the Cowboys a formidable team, would have been a playoff team with him. I think that I think they easily. No offense, Riv.
Whoa.
I think they. Come on.
Pump the brakes
with
buddy.
the injury troubles that the Eagles have had, I think they would have won the NFC East. And now, instead,
that's bold talk there, Jack.
With Andy Dalton, they didn't even look like they belonged in the NFL. And now with Ben DiNucci,
to be fair,
they're an embarrassment.
To be fair, when Andy Dalton took over, and so did Ben DiNucci, they started facing better defenses.
That's fair.
He's right.
But I think that Dak Prescott has looked like he improved a lot this offseason.
Yeah, and I love Dak, but I just disagree on that comment that he'll make the 49ers like he's way better than Jimmy G.
But
that's all I disagree on.
Where do you have Jimmy G at as a quarterback rankings in the league? I
think
have
15
him around
20th.
So with him at 15-20, where would you have the Niners?
What do you mean?
Like rankings in the NFC if they were healthy?
Probably the second spot in the NFC West, behind
and you telling
Seahawks.
Me
I had this is the reason I said what I said.
I
have Jimmy G closer to 20. I have him around 20 in quarterback ranks. If we could split hairs and you might be able to change my opinion, bump him up a spot or two. I have him around 20. I have Dak closer to 10 than 15. That's a big jump quarterback-wise. I think that Dak is a playmaker, and I think if you get into a situation like they got in against the Chiefs last year where they needed to make plays late, I trust Dak to make those plays for me more than I trust Jimmy G.
You trust Dak to make those plays, but against last year when he faced Philadelphia to win the NFC East, he didn't make those plays.
I think also what we're failing to notice, and Joel brought it up a little, they don't have a true solid number 1. Debo's still coming into his own, and they got a rookie out there right now. I don't think they other than George Kittle, they don't have a solid deep threat or a number 1 option too. So that kind of kills Jimmy G too.
But even so, he just watching him, he doesn't take those shots.
Yeah,
it almost looks like the way they treated Tua on Sunday. Like they kind of coddle Jimmy G in that offense. They don't make him make the big play. They don't predicate the offense on that rushing attack, which I guess you can't take points away from him for that, but at the same time it shows that Kyle Shanahan doesn't really have that trust in him to go out and make those throws.
Yeah.